Hi, what's going on, everybody? Really excited to be back here in the film room today because we are taking a look at one of my favorite players, not just quarterbacks, one of my favorite players in this entire class of 2027, Jake Nawrot from Hershey High School out in Illinois. This dude had one of the biggest climbs, seasons, ascensions, whatever you want to call it, really in this entire class. Position, agnostic. It doesn't really matter. He wasn't the starter in 2024. He sat behind another quarterback who actually ended up signing with an FBS program, waited his turn. So everything that you're seeing right now in this picture, every accomplishment came in his first year as a starting quarterback at Hershey High School. So you get a sense of who he is as a player to have all of this, have all these accomplishments, all these accolades. He's now a newly minted, top 50 player in America, top 5 quarterback. He's really like a fringe 5-star, and he balled out at Elite 11 Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. He's a hooper in the middle of leading his team to really a state championship run right now. So I can't wait to dive into his film and kind of put some credence into some of these claims that I'm making as truly one of my favorite players in this class. I think the accolades and the accomplishments speak for themselves, but man, truly a fun player. Verified 6'3", just a shade under 200 pounds. Again, as a junior, you're seeing for the measurements, for the body composition, all that stuff. I mean, look at that. All right, we're already off to a really hot start here with these first 2 clips. Again, this is a guy who's in his first year as a starting quarterback. So we're seeing him make some pretty high level, not really even just throws, but plays, right? We're seeing how he operates in the pocket. We're seeing him come off of play action, be on the move. And this is kind of what high school, really, when you're evaluating high school quarterbacks, this is kind of what it's all about, what you want to see. It's very scheme dependent. And when you're watching young players, I think in your mind you have sometimes an idea of what things should look like, and you're watching them go through the motions, and you're watching them go through the reps, and you're saying, hey, it doesn't quite look like this, so I don't know if he's really as good. But with him, you're watching him operate an offense that asks him to do a variety of different things. I mean, look at these different types of play action throws that we're seeing him make. We're seeing him in the drop back game. We're seeing him come off a boot, and we're seeing him boot. We're seeing him play action. We're seeing him set up behind the guards, behind the tackles. We're seeing him make throws outside the numbers. And again, this is what I just love about him. And to complete 71% of your passes when you're making these types of throws, when you're asked to operate an offense like this, not only is like 71% is extremely impressive regardless, but it's only more impressive when you're operating an offense that asks you to really to make an attempt what are usually kind of referred to or thought as lower percentage throws. When we talk about throwing the ball down the field, it's inherently a lower percentage play, just because there are so many variables that can affect the outcome of that. It doesn't make any type of offensive play caller a bad play caller or wrong play caller for calling them or for wanting to throw the ball down the field. That's not the case at all. But when you have a quarterback that has the conviction to make these kinds of throws and stick it in there, again, for a guy in his first year as a starter, that is what's most impressive. That's what I keep going back to. Again, I get it right here, and some of these other throws off of play action where he's setting up and guys are open. I get it. Not the world's hardest throws to make, but they are still impressive because look at where he's putting them. At the end of the day, that's what you want to see. When guys are this wide open, when they have this much separation, it's not the easiest thing in the world to come off of play action, establish a base, and put the ball in a position that can promote yards after the catch. It looks easy, and they should be able to do it. I get it. But it's not always a guarantee. It's not always a given. Again, like we talked about, throwing the ball down the field is inherently lower value. We're seeing him do this too. He can run. He can extend the play. We've seen it. We've seen it in these clips already. Even if he's not directly running, we're seeing him find space, kind of promote a throw readiness, promote platforms that he can tap into and continue getting the ball down the field. And above all else, right, when he's on the move, when he's not stationary, when it's not true drop back, throwing within the pocket, his eyes are down the field. Again, we see a ton of dual threat quarterbacks, athletic quarterbacks that really want to default to running. They're gonna drop back, maybe go through a progression or two, and then they're just gonna take off down the field. And I get it, because it's high school, you're athletic, you're fast, you can do those things. But that's not how he wants to try to win. Now, I'm gonna go back to this one again because I'm trying not to get caught up in all the physical traits and athletic traits at the position, but you see it here. Okay, we're seeing him kind of navigate this muddy pocket, and there are some areas to his game where that can improve, and that almost kind of goes without saying because he just doesn't have the reps, he doesn't have the live in-game reps yet. So you really grade that on kind of a curved scale, so to speak, or on a curve. But again, when he's getting out, this is what I think is one of the most impressive things about what we're seeing is he doesn't have He does not have to take that offhand and kind of center or re-grip the ball. We see him kind of have that arm elasticity, as I'll call it, as I kind of like to call it, where he can just hold, where he's holding the ball and he just has a throw readiness because he can tap into, the different motions and the different arm angles to get rid of the ball and promote yards after the catch. I mean, look where this ball ends up. Receiver doesn't really have to break stride or come off his route. Doesn't pull him off his route. We're seeing him be active with his hips. Again, kind of that upper and lower body disassociation. That's a huge part of athletic plays at that position. And again, the ability to throw the ball down the field, challenge down the field. Like, it's one thing to be tasked with it, like, hey, this is the read to do it, and it's another to have the mindset of, I trust my guy, I'm going to go make this play. I'm going to make this throw and give him a chance to make a play. So, man, Jake Nawrot, there's a reason why he is one of my favorite players in this entire class. And this is another one right here, like we talked about, man. He's a hooper on the hardwood, and being able to dunk and make plays on the hardwood and be a good basketball player, it's obviously not a necessity for the position, but you do get a sense of who they are as an athlete when you watch them take a jump shot. For example, you watch guys like Drake May, who had a really strong basketball background. You watch them shoot and the way that they can kind of gauge and construct a shot. I'm telling you, you'll get a really good sense of how they kind of operate space, their spatial awareness, their spatial feel. Again, this is a pretty good example of it. And again, this was a guy, we've said it a million times, but was his first year as a starting quarterback. So I love what I see on the basketball court, obviously love what I see on the football field. There's a reason why he's a trending 5-star prospect, and the rankings and all that stuff, we really try not to get caught up in all that. Take those things with a grain of salt. But it makes sense why his rankings have risen, commensurate with what you've seen as an athlete, not just a football player, but as an athlete, as a dual sport athlete. So, man, Jake Nawrot, one of my favorite players in this class of 2027, in the middle of a state championship run in basketball. So I'm really excited to continue following their journey along and see how he continues to develop.